Welcome back to Tales of Teacher Transformation. Wow, Maxine, you know what?
What?
Talking of teacher transformation, I had a transformation today.
What happened?
I thought that SMART objectives were boring, but the meeting that I went to, our instructor made them so interesting and useful. She taught them in a way I had never seen before.
That's great.
You know all about SMART objectives, though, right? Because I saw you missed the meeting, but nobody noticed. So let's talk today about what she told us, SMART objectives and Smarty objectives.
Wow, I can't wait to learn more about that.
You're going to love it. Okay, now remember when we talk about objectives, we often use a target with an arrow in it. So let's think about the objectives for this lesson. Our objectives will be to
list the 5 components of traditional SMART objectives.
Yeah, so that you have to know what the 5 components of the regular traditional SMART, what does that mean? And then we're going to explain 3 ways. How many?
3 ways.
3 ways that you can use SMART objectives in your teaching and lesson planning. How can they do it in what?
In their teaching and their lesson planning.
Oh, very good. And then we have an optional activity, which is totally optional, but you may want to think about this, creating your own new acronym for SMART. Do you remember what an acronym is?
It's a combination of letters to make up different words.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yes.
All right, so let's look at this thing here. What is that called? That round thing there is
the target.
Target, and that pointy thing is the
arrow.
Okay, then let's look at this next picture. This is great. Who is this?
That is a person shooting a bow and arrow.
Oh, can you show us the bow?
Here's the bow.
Right, that big long thing. And the arrow.
Here's the arrow.
And what makes the arrow go?
There's a string. There's a string on the back that helps.
Yes, and what else helps the arrow to go to the right place? What is this? First of all, let me back up. What is this man called? What is his name?
He's called an archer.
An archer shoots arrows and bows. So what does he need to do in order to hit his goal?
He needs to practice a lot.
Practice a lot. And what does he practice with?
His bow and arrow.
And does the bow string just sit there all the time? No, he has to learn how to put that on. He has to learn how to hold it, and he has to practice a lot or a little?
A lot.
A
Yes, to
lot.
practice a lot.
A long time to become really good. You have to practice a lot. So today we're going to be talking about what do you need in order to hit your goal. And one of those things, I was reminded, very useful, it's SMART objectives. Now you know all about them, right? What are they? Can you remind us?
Specific.
Measurable, right?
Achievable.
Relevant.
And time-based.
Yeah, I got all these, but remember now, what did she say about time-based in that meeting? Oh, time-based. It's like you have to have a date and a time that you're going to get them done by, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll say, oh, I'm going to lose weight tomorrow, or I'm going to clean up my house tomorrow, and you never get it done, right?
That's right.
And it has to be specific. I am going to clean up my house by washing all the dishes, so we use specifics like that. Okay. So let us look at another thing about the hand. Do you remember this thing with the hand and the WH questions? Can you remind us what that is?
Who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Wow, you really remembered that. Well, we can use the who, what, when, where, why, and how when we're talking about our objectives too. So we want to think about who are we teaching? The students. And what are we going to teach them? Whatever the lesson plan is. Today we're going to talk about colors. And when are we going to do that? In my class at 9 o'clock in the morning. And where? In their desks and at the whiteboard.
Mm-hmm.
And why? Because it's on the curriculum and they need to know it to speak English. And how are we going to do it? Let's think of some specific ways. How would you do it?
I would use TPR.
TPR.
I would use as many learning modalities as
Ooh,
possible.
mhm.
Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Yes.
I would make sure that what they could learn would be chunked into small groups so they could acquire it, so they could remember it. So the chunking is part, the activating the learning is part, but all of those specific things are part of our program. So let's, before we go further, I have much more to explain, but let's watch a little video about it. Would you like to see the video?
I would love to see
It's
the
really
video.
a very specific video. Okay, let's see what it says. And we have the URL later.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to Teachings and Education, Writing Lesson Objectives. Written objectives should be characterized as SMART. S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R relevant, and T time bound. First, specific. It's important to narrow in on what it is exactly you want your students to do. Objectives should be well defined to students, observable to teachers, and describe the who, what, when, where, and why of the lesson. On to measurable. Objectives must be measurable so that teachers know if students are actually learning the objectives. So make sure your objectives can be evaluated. Third, achievable. What you don't want to do is set your students up for failure. Be sure that your students are academically ready to complete the objective. Remember, you want to set your students up for success. Next up, relevant. The lesson objective must be relevant to students' academic success and relevant to previous and future lessons. Objective must prepare students for standardized testing, relate to larger ideas, and build on prior knowledge. And lastly, you want your objectives to be time-bound. Set a time limit of 1 or 2 class periods. When setting time-bound objectives, be sure that there is enough time and you have an assigned date for completion. Right now, I'm going to outline a fully written objective for a typical lesson. 80% of students will be able to solve systems of equations using the elimination method by the end of the period and assessed using a 5-question multiple choice quiz. So right now I want to say thank you. Please subscribe to the channel and click the link for resources to writing lesson objectives.
Wow, not bad, huh?
That was helpful.
I really like the learn and grow and evolve in education.
Yes.
That's great. That should be my motto. So, you know, I have an evolve in education quote that I really like. Have you heard this quote?
I have heard this quote.
What is this quote?
The journey of 10,000 miles begins with a single step.
So that's the big picture. You got that 10,000 mile journey. Where's a journey you'd like to take?
Machu Picchu in Peru.
Ooh, I'd love to go there. I want to go to Scotland. So, you know, that's my big picture. I want to go to Scotland. You want to go to Machu Picchu. That is the 10,000 mile journey. So that's the big picture. So that is your goal. That's your goal for your whole class. It's a goal. It's a big picture thing, right?
Yes.
Now, do you know how you're going to get there to Machu Picchu?
We have to take steps.
Are you just going to like appear in Machu Picchu one day? Oh, guess where I am, Machu Picchu. No, you
No,
have to
I have
take a lot of steps.
Yes.
Okay, so let's think about those steps, shall we?
Okay.
The goal is the big picture, and then the the 10,000 miles, you have to take one step and then another step. So what are your objectives to reach your big picture goal? Those are the
Steps.
right.
Yes.
And that's the step-by-step part. And so you might want to think about that.
Yes. So the single steps are the lessons that we do every day towards helping our students achieve the goals of improving their English and learning speaking and learning new vocabulary
And enjoying English
and having fun. Yes.
and remembering English.
Yes.
Wow. So
Yes.
how we want to ask you to think about this here for a moment. How can you make your own lesson plans with SMART objectives? Specific,
Measurable,
achievable,
achievable,
relevant, and
time-based.
time-based. I'd like to say time-based. Time-bound sounds like I'm stuck or something. But anyway, timely, time-based with time. Anyway, so how can we do that? Well, one of the things we need to think about is our overall goal for the year, for the semester, for the month, for the week, and even the day.
Mhm.
Right? Because sometimes we have to write a lesson plan very specifically for this afternoon at 2:00. And then we're focusing on the immediate small goals. I'm going to teach the pronunciation of the letter R, something like that.
Mhm.
And then sometimes we have to think about the lesson goals and step-by-step things for the entire week.
Mhm.
And then the whole week is a big project because we have so many different classes we're teaching. But then sometimes we have to think about the whole semester. And the whole semester has so many parts and so many goals and so many step-by-step things. But this is a whole field of flowers, isn't it?
Wow.
Oh, wow. We have to look at the whole field all at
Mhm.
once. We can't
Mhm.
just look at one flower. We have to look at all the flowers and the whole field of flowers and how we make the whole field grow and why.
Mhm.
Why do we want to do that?
Why do we want to make the whole field grow?
Why do we want to make the whole field of learning for our students grow?
Yes, because ultimately we want our students to develop and expand and grow and be global citizens.
And that's why learning other languages helps us to understand other cultures and work in the whole globe. And it's very
Mhm.
important for our future because we're going to need a lot of help planning for all the problems we have going on now. So
That's
global, you said
Mhm.
global citizen?
citizen, yes.
Wow.
So it's our having all of our students understand that we all play a role in keeping the world healthy and growing and expanding as human beings.
And we can all learn to understand each other better if we speak some similar languages in common.
Yes.
Ooh, I like that. Well, the thing that I really liked about my presentation with my teacher today is, to me, it always feels that SMART objectives are missing a little bit of something. There's a flavor. There's no hot sauce, no special sauce in it. So today our instructor talked about what's missing. So let's think about SMART objectives. What do they help us do?
Well, they help us plan and measure student progress.
Yeah. And they help us help the students go step by step. And if we go step by step, we can say, did they get that step? Oops, they missed that step. We have to go back
Mhm.
and plan again. How are they going to get step A, B, C?
Mhm.
And it's not like we have to achieve this step every time, right?
Right, exactly. Sometimes we miss a step. That's part of life too, and teaching.
Then we have to go back around and try to find out how we can. But that's why the exit ticket is
Mhm.
also really good, because we can say, oops, little Johnny missed that step, but everybody else understands it. But there is a missing piece with the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, time-based protocol. And to me, what is that missing piece?
It's the inspiration
And engagement.
and motivation.
Yes, and excitement about learning, because SMART
Yes.
objectives, in my experience of 40 years of teaching, they never talk about the challenging, engaging, multisensory motivation, and what's the other one you like so much? Oh, yeah, the methods we use to
Mhm.
help them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you see what our teacher did today? She gave us
Wow.
a new idea. Wait till you see this. Smarty objectives. You ready?
Yes, what a great idea.
Do you know what they are?
Specific,
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
measurable,
I've heard that before.
achievable,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
relevant,
Okay, we're getting close.
time-based,
Yes, of course. Got to get it done for tomorrow. Inspiring
inspiring,
and
and
engaging. So
engaging.
we can
Yes.
add that to our SMART objectives, and we can start to think how to make the students successful because of their motivation.
Yes. And
Oh,
inspiring students is what teaching is all about.
I sure hope so. Right.
I love that.
So she gave us a chance to do something really fun, and I really enjoyed it. But of course, if you don't want to, just think about it in the back of your mind. And
Mhm.
what we came up with in that meeting was a new possibility for Smarty objectives. And this helps me remember the whole principle of SMART objectives. So, what are they?
Student-centered,
Student centered, S.
motivating,
And motivating.
adaptable.
Adaptable means I can change depending on what the class needs. What did you call reflection in action? Yeah,
Yes,
adaptable, right?
adaptable and reflective, such an
Mm.
important part of teaching and learning.
So the students could reflect on what they learned, and then I reflect too. Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
yeah. And
Transformative.
transformative. That is something we can all aim for, that target.
And inspiring and engaging.
And how do-
Smarty.
Smarty objectives.
Yes.
So how do we make them inspiring and engaging?
Well, that's something we talked about earlier, using multiple learning modalities, using senses, using TPR, using pair work, activities that help our students learn and grow and set them up for success.
You know, Maxine, this is fantastic because this meeting came just today when we were talking about this project and we're kind of wrapping up this video program. And it's a great review to remember that all the techniques we've been talking about can help us become inspiring and engaging teachers and improve our measurable outcomes and help student success.
Yes,
And have more fun teaching too, right?
definitely.
So I really like that. What do you think?
I really love this too. I like the idea. That we do need to use SMART objectives to
Right.
help achieve the goal. But I love that we can also add our own words to help us remember why we're doing it and what's important when we're teaching.
I love that. That's really, really great. Thank you so much for letting me share. I was so excited. I mean, really, this is the first time that I really understood the purpose of SMART objectives and how I can use them in my class with a little extra smarty.
Yes.
Yes, so great. All right.
So what are we going to do today? What are you going to do today?
What are you going to do today? Well, what's the first one? Can you read it? Oh, we can't hear you. Okay. So the first one is to list the 5 components of the traditional SMART objectives.
And if you need a review, you can watch the video again. And here's the URL.
And what's the next one?
Explain 3 ways you can use SMART objectives in your classroom.
Yes, it could be for lesson planning. It could be for writing the objective that you have to give to your supervisor. Or it could just be to help you think about creative new ways of focusing things step by step so students succeed.
And if you need a little extra inspiration, you can create your own new acronym for SMART, like
Yes.
Miriam did.
Don't forget the old acronym, but the new one could help you link together personal, relevant information with this very useful pattern and rubric for writing brilliant, exciting objectives for your student success and your excellent teaching.
Yes.
All right.
Well, that was great, Miriam. I loved hearing about your workshop, and it really gave me new inspiration and motivation.
What inspired you the most?
The idea that we can use that as a starting point, but we can build and expand upon that to make our teaching more fun and interactive for our students.
And I like the way that she explained it, like we have the daily goal and then we have like the weekly goal, but what's the big goal? Why are we teaching English? You know, you have to look at the big picture as well as the small picture.
Yes, exactly.
Global citizens, to me, that's,
That says it all.
hope so. And better understanding and more
Yes.
fun while teaching. So, well, I really enjoyed that and I hope you did too. And Maxine, did you have a good time?
I had a great time.
Can you
Thank
believe it?
you.
We had a good time talking
Yes,
about smart.
objectives.
That's great. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you. And,
Yes.
you know, thank all of you. Please do write us with any questions about your objectives. And I'm sure you'll be studying it more in the future. So happy teaching,
and happy learning. Bye for now.
Bye.